Anytime you can go what your feeling is and what your imagination tells you to do, amen. And it has to be the Holy Spirit. Because it ain't you, right? Hey, son of the preacher man on Go Party Online. That all. Good morning. Bless you, Deacon Bear, Brother Young, Brother Robinson, Mother Watson, Sister Dime Bazemore, Sister Medica, Mother Crawford, First Lady Teresa Roundtree, and my friend Anasia. Big praise out to you all this morning. Big praise out to Mother Robinson. Big praise out to one and only Lady Ace. Lord, it's me again. I don't care how many times it takes for me to keep going back to God so He get me where I need to be in life. Listen, I'm a secure man. I got God with me. hmm So I fear nothing. That's right. I fear no one. Amen. Amen. People can only kill. Amen. They can only kill the body, but they can't do nothing to your spirit and your soul. So your soul go back to the Lord. It's a Sunday morning right here on Go Party Online. That with Ace and the Preacher Man on 1240. We get out to Brother Eugene. Hope you feel better, my brother. He prayers out to my good friend, Brother Jones, Jonesy, Prop Medica, my bishop. Sister Crawford, you can call back. Bless you, Sister Crawford. How are you? Thank you for hanging with me. Thank you for hanging with me. I really appreciate it.
Yes, I am so blessed this morning.
There you go. That's it, right? Because blessing comes not only in cash, but
Right.
blessing coming with good health, good eyesight, good memory. All those are blessings. We sometimes equated blessing with cars and houses, and those are good in their places, but they can't replace, amen, the true nature of what God is doing for you.
Lord, thank you.
Yes, right. So I thank you for calling. It's always a pleasure.
Yes, letting you calling in to let you know that I am enjoying the program.
Thank you so much. I know Brother Robinson probably smiling right now because he got his ears on too. He surprised me a lot of times. He said, "Preacher man, you got me going over here." So I wouldn't be surprised if he's listening this morning. to make sure I'm doing the right thing, I guess.
And thanks, Sister Tracy, this morning for those encouraging words.
Oh yeah, didn't she? Oh my goodness, the Lord really used her. I got to let her know. She probably listening too, so I'll let her know either way. All right.
All right.
Thank you, Sister Crawford. Keep listening. Bless you.
Bless you.
Take care now. Bye bye. All right, no turning back, man. You come this far now. Why you want to turn back now? hmm It's your one stop, your life changing gospel radio ministry with Ace and the preacher man on 1240, Tim Rogers and Felix, and that's one that's called No Turning Back. After bring you over the hill, amen, and now you can stay on the top and look down. Now, first you used to look up. Now you're looking down, man. That's an honor. It's like an eagle. An eagle, fly above everything that's going on, so you can see everything when you're up top. When you're bottom, you can't see it much, But when you put yourself on top, like an eagle, you fly above all everything. Criticism and those that don't like you, you just fly above them. They got to turn around now. They got to look up on you now. And say, how did he get up there? Become a mystery. Go Party Online. Don't forget at 9 a.m. this morning on WGBB to sit down with Sean, who will be here. Well, you keep it locked on Go Party Online. That all. Amen. For the next 24 hours. We'll be here tomorrow night, starting out with simulcast with Go Party Online from 6 to 7:30. We come on at 8 p.m. to 10. Eugene will be here at 9 p.m. It's been just that good. Great music coming from Ricky Dillon. Been just that good. Good music right here on Gospel Celebration with Ace and the Preacher Man right here on 1240 WGBB. The Lord is good and he certainly is worthy, amen, to be praised.
This is your one-stop gospel celebration. Thank you for tuning in to Gospel Celebration, your one-stop, the station that serves your community, 1240 WGBB.
Are you having an event that you need a gospel DJ? Well, Go Party is available. That is right. DJ Ace will play at your next event. Whatever the event is, it's only gospel only. So give us a call at 1-516-444-8157. That's 1-516-444-8157. Or drop us a line at gospelcelebration1240@gmail.com or 1-516-688-9806. All right? And DJ Ace will return your call. Go Party is on move on your next event. Check it out.
I've been waiting on you. Waiting for your embrace. Hello, love. This is the day, love. Everybody's searching for you. Everywhere there's pain, we're missing you. We need you more than ever before. I know I do.
I didn't know much about love, the way it was supposed to be.
Yeah.
I was born into a world so cold, I'm not forget.
Let's go.
Many dark days, the times I got betrayed by the ones that were supposed to love me. It's the only kind of love I know.
Truth is,
that's the reason why a love that's born to die is so hard to believe.
you didn't throw me away.
So maybe I'll take a chance and try love.
But promise me.
Don't say goodbye, love.
Let's go.
This is your day, love.
Yeah.
This is the day that you can't get away. I've been waiting all day, love.
It's so good to see you.
Waiting for your embrace, love.
Hello, love.
This is the day, love. Every prayer that I pray, feelings I can't escape. It's so hard to explain, love.
You're like a mystery.
It's a beautiful day, love.
Yeah. Talk to us.
Today's kind of love, the same kind of love. This one leaves you feeling empty.
You can keep that mid love.
I don't wanna feel let down again. Been around the world and I know it's going crazy. I got so many nights and need someone to save me. No greater love or sacrifice.
Nothing like that.
Love on the cross, you paid the price.
Thank you.
That's why I trust you with my life. And I take a chance and try love.
Please.
Don't take my love. This is your day, love. This is the day that you can't get away. I've been waiting all day, love.
I've been waiting my whole life.
Waiting for your embrace, love.
I'm not gonna let you go this time.
This is the day, love.
The love isn't love
Every breath that I breathe, feeling
until you give it away.
it's so hard to explain, love.
Find somebody
It's a beautiful day, love.
and love somebody.
It's a beautiful day.
If I didn't get it right yesterday, he's giving me a chance to try love again.
It's a beautiful day.
And even though life didn't start out easy, that's not the way it has to end.
It's a beautiful day.
See, I learned love's not the enemy, but I had to look deep down within.
It's gonna be a beautiful day.
For God so loved the world. Now, let's let real love begin.
Get out and touch somebody, love somebody, hold somebody. Get out and touch somebody, love somebody, hold somebody. Get out and touch somebody, love somebody, hold somebody. Don't you know that you just may be the only Jesus that we see? Get out and touch somebody, love somebody, hold somebody. Get out and touch somebody, love somebody, hold somebody. Get out and touch somebody, love somebody, hold somebody. Don't you know that you just may be The only Jesus that can see. Get out and touch somebody. I'm no longer a slave to fear, for I am a child of God. Let's raise that loud, say, I'm no longer a slave to fear, yeah, for I am a child of God. Let's raise it out. You unravel me with a melody. You surround me with a song. Shout it out, say, of deliverance from my enemy till all my fears are gone. I'm no longer a slave to fear. Let's declare it together, say, for I am a child of God. Say, I'm no longer a slave to fear, for I am a child of God. I love this one, y'all. It says, from my mother's womb, you have chosen me. Your love has called my name. Yeah. And I've been born again into your family. Your blood flows through. Let's do that one more time. Say, from my mother's womb, you have chosen me. Your love has called my name. And I've been born again. Your family. Now shout it out. Your blood flows through my veins. I'm no longer a slave to fear. Somebody declare your life. For I am a child of God. Say, I'm no longer a slave to fear. For I am a child of God. Oh, oh, you split the sea so I can walk right through. My fears are drowned in perfect love. Yeah. You rescued me so I can stand and sing. Shout it. A child of God. Come on, say it. You split the sea. You split the sea so I can walk. My fears are drowned. My fears are drowned in perfect love. Say you rescued me. You rescued me so I can stand. I am a child.
Oh, yes, indeed. It's your one stop. Thank you so much for hanging out with me and all the listeners that call. We thank you so much, Lady S, and I appreciate you. All right, stay tuned for Sean on the sit down coming up next, and keep it locked on Go Party Online. Then on. God's willing, we'll come right back here again starting 6 p.m. tomorrow, right here on the 40 WGBB. All right, have yourself a good Sunday. Lady Ethel said, get your priorities straight and put God first, and everything will fall in place. All right, have yourself a good Sunday now. Take care.
Mr. Preacher Man, I don't want no trouble. I just came to praise and worship with my brothers, praying to the Lord and hoping He forgive us. I want God to save us, don't want the streets to kill us. I'm like Mr. Preacher Man, I don't want no trouble. I just came to praise and worship with my brothers, praying to the Lord and hoping He forgive us. I want God to save us, don't want the streets to kill us. I'm like Mr. Preacher Man. Please don't be alarmed. We just come to pray. We don't mean no harm. I see how you're looking. Of course we ain't perfect. We figured if we came to see Jesus, it was worth it. We live up the block, and I know you've seen us running from the cops. All this senseless killing, we want it to stop. We want you to know, sir, if you don't let us in, we have no place to go, sir. Mr. Preacher Man, I don't want no trouble. I just came to praise and worship with my brothers, praying to the Lord and hoping He forgive us. I want God to save us, don't want the streets kill us. I'm like Mr. Preacher Man, I don't want no trouble. I just came to praise and worship with my brothers, praying to the Lord and hoping He forgive us. I want God to save us, don't want the streets to kill us. I'm the preacher man, Bible in my hand. I'm so glad that you all came to church, hey, my friend. And yes, you all are welcome as we seek His face. Here we like the organ, I know you like bass. That's okay, we love the same God. We may dress a little different, but love the same God. The same God. We want you to know, sir, that we will love you, not judge you, and want you to grow, sir. Mr. Preacher Man, I don't want no trouble. I just can't praise and worship with my brothers, praying to the Lord and hoping He forgive us. I want God to save us.
This is your one stop gospel celebration. Thank you for tuning in to Gospel Celebration, your one stop station that serves your community, 1240 WGBB.
This is WGBB AM 1240 and W240 DFM 95.9 Freeport, New York.
Good morning, Long Island, and welcome to the Sit Down. As always, this is Sean Pendergast giving you the very best in talk radio.
And good morning, one and all, and welcome to the Sit Down Week 2 live on the YouTube, if you will. Go to YouTube and put in WGBB, and you'll see this show live in living color, and keep it on the radio also. Why the heck not? Do things at once, as we try and do around here. First off, a couple announcements before we bring on today's guest. D in the band at D-Dial. And the band going to be, of course, September 9th over at Artie's what is it? Grocers, not as we said, not a Grocers, but actual venue. That's September 9th, I believe. 8 p.m. is when they're going to be on. I was hoping to get a quick text from D this morning, but we'll have more information as we go, possibly next week. And we lost two wrestling, one legend and one that was soon to be legend. Bray Wyatt, WWE superstar, passed away this week, and NWA legend Terry Funk we also lost, and TV legend Bob Barker. Just a quick few announcements with that as we bring on today's guest and this portion of Wrestling Month. We're gonna have Sergeant Slaughter's daughter on next week, which starts September, so it kind of extends. We have Christine Nixon. She is an art teacher, graphic designer, and I know what you're thinking. Why are you bringing that on for Wrestling Month?
But her husband is actually a independent pro wrestler down in the Alabama area, and she works for promotion doing graphic design and such. Christine, good morning.
Good morning.
How are you this morning? How's everything down in the Alabama area?
Doing good. It's a little hot, but we're okay down here.
That's okay. You know, we actually got some cool weather up here ourselves, so everybody's doing good. Now, for those who don't know anything about the area of the country with your wrestling and stuff that you're doing, could you give a brief bio on yourself, please?
Oh, I'm like you said, a graphic designer. I've been doing it since 1995. I graduated University of Alabama. I was a $1 million band. I went to grad school to be a teacher because I felt like art wasn't being focused on enough, and I want to make a difference. So went to grad school at University of West Alabama. I was Kappa Delta Pi president, International Honor Society, and then life, taking care of the kids, moved out to California. Got involved with a lot of graphic design out there for a lot of international companies. It was kind of fun. And then I moved back home and met my husband at church, of all places. And we're doing good. And a friend of his actually got us into the wrestling world in Georgia. And we started out there. And but we'll talk more about that in a minute. But it's been a crazy ride. And the Lord's blessed me with every opportunity, and I took full advantage of them. I busted that door wide open whenever it was cracked open just a little bit. So I'm good. I'm just enjoying life down here. It's quiet down here in Alabama, but we're going to raise a little Cain in the wrestling world.
There you go. Now, just to give a brief rundown on who also your husband is and a little bit about the Federation so fans know how you all both got started with that. Because it ties into your art design.
It really does.
So if you could just give us a little background on that, how that became.
Well, he started working in a coal mine around here in Alabama, and a friend of his was talking about wrestling, and he said, "Hey, man, why don't you come out?" And he was wrestling at KLT Promotions in Rome, Georgia at the time with Ricky Wiggins. And we went out there, and it was an incredible show. I had a blast. I never went to a live wrestling match at the time. And I just so happened they invited my husband to wrestle. And so he started getting training with Mike Golden, the Golden Boy. And, y'all have seen him before on WCW years ago. And he took him under his wing, and I started doing posters for my husband independently. And Todd Zane saw my talent, and he said, "Hey, girl, let's bring you on our team." So I became their media producer and ran the Facebook page, and I helped make KLT Promotions #1 in Georgia. And that's how I started. Man, it's been incredible. I learned so much under Todd Zane and Mike Golden and Ricky Wiggins and War Daddy and Mr. Atlanta, and that led to helping with Superstars Fan Fest with Sean Ambrose, because he was the commissioner there at KLT. And I've met so many people. I think that one of the coolest people I've met through that was Jimmy Wang Yang and Sergeant Slaughter and Tommy Wildfire and the Horseman. Man, it's been an incredible ride. I saw Luke Gallows. I didn't really say too much to him. Man, it's just the people that I've met during this journey has been incredible.
And now I ask out here on Long Island, what is your art teacher doing on the weekends when she's not in school? Is my question. No, that's
He's making graphic design and editing wrestling matches for the promotion down here.
there you go. Yes. So for those who don't know about independent wrestling, up here in Long Island, we get when big time wrestling comes up here when they have like charity events, they get a hold of them. And Tommy Dreamer runs something, but that's upstate. So here on the island, we don't have much of our own quote unquote wrestling organization. We got the big three, I guess you would say. So what makes an independent organization different from what the fans up here see every week on Raw and AEW and such?
Well, I see the energy. I've seen people who are on AEW Dark and who are on Nightmare Factory and that are on TV, and they've actually, I'm not going to say who, but someone wrestled for us at KLT that had a mask on, and he was well known. He just wanted the energy and the vibe and didn't want anybody to know who he was. And because the heart is there, that's the foundations of what leads into the big three-letter companies we see on TV all the time. And it's about the fans. It's about the energy. It's about bringing your family and and having your friends come see you wrestle, and the hope and the starry-eyedness of one day possibly make it. And I think it's incredible. I would much rather go to an independent than a major, place where I have to pay for a ticket. It's just, it's I can't describe it. There's not words. It's just, it's wonderful to watch. And the talent is raw, and it's beautiful, and it's a skill, and it's just taken, on this good. And it's just, I don't really know how to describe it, but it's kind of a bloodline for these three-letter companies. I like seeing where it begins, and for the most part, and it's kind of cool.
That's it. People don't realize, like, you're on TV, especially AEW. It seems like everybody's there, but they're not there on TV every week. And that like 4,000 guys seem to work for them, and you only see like maybe 16 major guys each week or something like that. So it takes away, because with your guys, I'm sure they do what they do, and they're closer to the fans anyway. The only time you really get WWE being, and I'm not down in them, but really close to their fans, is that fan fest around like WrestleMania or something, where they sit there and they sign autographs. But I'm sure you guys, because I know that from the independent show that was up here, pretty much make yourselves accessible to the fans. Yes, I can speak. But that's what the difference is. Like, down, because years ago, back in the 90s, I did a little training with Jimmy Valiant over in Shawsville, Virginia. And like you said, it's funny, I was talking to somebody who represents him. I'm like, where were the TV when you and I were down there wrestling? I told the guy, because we wrestled around the same time with him, a little training and such. Now he's got all his guys on YouTube. So I'm like, I still watch him, and stuff. But there is a fire with him promoting his young talent in the school, and that's kind of where I think the schools kind of go. I don't know if you guys do that, where you take your talent right from the the training and have matches for the fans like that, like a free type of match, like he does like on a Sunday.
Those would be dark matches where they're really training and trying to, figure out what moves to do. And and there, it's there's been a lot of dark matches that nobody's ever seen that have been incredible, where legends have given their wisdom to these young kids to carry on their legacy. And it's wonderful to watch. The heart that's in it is just very vivacious.
That's what I was hoping you would say, because that's when I was down there back in, like I said, the mid 90s to early 2000s. That's exactly what he did. He actually, there was a situation that he said to me, he said, Sean, Bruiser Graham was the wrestler's name. I don't even know if he still wrestles in the territories anymore, down there in the independents, if you will. But it's like, take this garbage can lid, toss it to him, and as it's being thrown, distract the referee. So I did it, and all of a sudden I just turned into Bobby Heenan, Captain Lou Albano, everybody I can think of right there. And then I just went, and then he took me aside, and he's like, you could be the next Captain Lou. And at the time when I was training with him, I'm like, said to myself, that's wonderful, Boogie, but I really want to be the next Ric Flair. And when the career ends, I could be Captain Lou, because at that time they're starting with the female valets. So it wasn't too many Jim Cornettes roaming around. Unless you own the Federation. And there you go. But so what is, you guys are just on week a couple of days a week, or you just on the weekends you put stuff together for the fans?
Well, I just kind of do it whenever I have time. Those Facebook pages, they have to go out every couple days or maybe once a week. But when it gets showtime, you have to really do it like once a day right before leading up to the show. And it can be taxing. It can drive you crazy trying to have a career on top of doing advertising and everything, and listening to the wrestlers and don't have a promotional picture and trying to clear up the photos. It can be taxing, a lot of time consuming. So it's not just a weekend job. It's a lifestyle. It's incredible.
And even Bobby Heenan once said that. He goes, when he first was watching it back in the day, he's like, and everybody said that they all were fans. And he said, even if you never step into a wrestling ring, you're hooked. You're pretty much one of the boys because you love it so much. There's those who actually, like your husband and yourself, who are totally involved in it. And then there's the fans like myself who have, did a little bit of training with a Jimmy Valiant and understand what it takes to put all this together. It's not like I'm Hulk Hogan's nephew and I learn a few moves and boom, I'm on Nitro or something. It takes a lot of, especially for the independents, it takes a lot of years to really hone the craft.
Absolutely. It takes a lot of heart, a lot of time. It's very deep. Throwing a show together and promoting one is not an easy task. And your family has to understand, be very understanding of it because it's going to take time. It's going to take traveling, but it's worth it in the end to see a little kid, especially for me. Last year, a little girl came up. That's one of my first graders. Actually, she was in the classroom across from me where I teach, and she got a lot of her little friends. And then the high school I graduated got teamed up with us, and they bring the special needs children down there. It's incredible to see those kids light up and have fun and escape this world's troubles, and that makes it really worth it.
That is because you guys, and I'm not using any organization's names or whatever, but I've heard stories when different guys do quote unquote shoot interviews about certain people, and some people, because I've seen like a Tony Gurria years ago when I was up in Connecticut, stand with a young man in a wheelchair and spend a good 15 minutes signing an autograph and talking to him. And then I went down to spring training like 3 or 4 years later, having that with Tony Gurria still in my mind, and watching one of the ball players who's making millions of dollars pass by myself and the young man in the wheelchair with his father. So I said to the father, I said, doesn't that bother you and everything? He goes, no, these are just high paid individuals, and they, some are autograph signers and some are just there for the money. And he's absolutely right. So that's what I'm saying. Like on the independent organizations, you guys are so with the fans. It's, it's fun to watch. It really is, because
I really consider it a bloodline, like of the industry. Like it's the heart of it. It really is.
And that's the thing. I mean, Ricky Morton still is doing it. I think Robert Gibson is doing it now part time. I know they both have wrestling schools, and are teaching. Well, Ricky Morton taught his son, but they're teaching the next generation. And the way they're doing it is the same way Jimmy Valiant did it, and a lot of his students is they're really teaching you the respect of the business.
Absolutely.
And you could tell, like, when you're trained by somebody who's a veteran of the business, as opposed to somebody who's was in the business for a year and he knows a couple of moves, and he might have been on Raw in the Dark match or something, or a TV match or whatever. You're not getting the same training as you are with somebody who knows what they're doing, like a Wild Samoan wrestling school, or I know Tommy Rich also has a wrestling school. So these are the guys who, not because they're on TV and everything, but their knowledge. I mean, Jimmy Valiant's well in his 80s and is still running a wrestling school. Yeah. So,
and those guys are incredible that come from Ricky Morton and Robert Gibson. I tell you, the guys that have been trained by them are a lot of our friends. I could drop some names, but the talent that have come out of there, it's incredible. They're very skilled. They're very thorough. They know how to run their merchandise table. They know how to talk to the fans. They know how to work the crowd. they're very thorough with the Rock and Roll Express training school, and I can testify to that. I've seen many guys who have made a difference in the industry come from them, and I can say that they're one of the top training schools if you want to go, because of the product that comes out of the guys and their charisma and their gimmicks. It's very thorough. They don't leave any page unturned with their boys.
Because it's funny, if you watch interviews with Ricky Morton, like you said, Ricky Morton, the one thing he emphasizes, and he's right about this, is the way the training is taught to these young guys. Because he was there in Memphis. Those who don't know, his father was a referee down in Memphis for many years, Paul Morton, and he was around the boys probably since he was like 6 or 7 years old, along with Eddie Gilbert probably at the time. And, to soak up that knowledge and to learn the business from the ground up, and then to teach the next generation and be at these shows and tell these guys this and this and this is how we should run the match, instead of, like he said, diving into a table every third match. It's like that's where you start going for popcorn. If you see the same thing, 100 times, it's like seeing the Globetrotters. They're gonna quote unquote win 100% of the games, but you go for the enjoyment and the entertainment factor and the excitement of it. And there you go. Now with that,
absolutely.
Okay. There you go. Now the for those who don't know, you can get a lot of the matches on YouTube and such.
Yeah.
Okay. What is the YouTube page? Was it All Star Wrestling from Alabama or something?
All Star Wrestling on YouTube. You're going to run into a lot of Texas stuff, but we're the one from Alabama. There have been some really good people come from down that have been in our matches. Some guys from AEW Dark, Nightmare Factory, some legends. You're going to see all kinds of stuff sprinkled in there together, and that really skilled guys have come through. They're incredible to watch and to be there and feel the energy as it's happening. Man. But yes, you can see all the ones from this and on YouTube. And I hope that y'all tune into those, because you're missing out if you don't.
I was just going to say, did you guys run a show a couple of years back when Terry Gordy passed?
No, I was at KLT when Bob Armstrong passed. I wasn't.
No, I was saying with Terry Gordy, because I know that I think an Alabama organization did something down south, did something for him. I'm not even sure. But if it's not you guys, then don't even worry about it.
We had Miranda Gordy on our Superstars Fan Fest, and she's Terry Gordy, and she's an incredible person. She had a beef going on with Bambi and Selena Majors, and it was interesting working to build this the beef between them.
If she's anything like her father, when he was in World Class, then you guys are gonna have to tie down the chairs and pay extra for the building.
You have to. When the Gordys come to town, or anybody involved with the Freebirds, man, you got to watch out. They're gonna bring the house down. They're how Terry Gordy said, the house is on fire.
And for those who don't know, I mean, I've seen some matches on YouTube with Miranda, but check her out. But those who are too young to remember, type in Terry Gordy. I mean, teaming with Dr. Det Steve Williams, with the Freebirds, by himself. Oof. Just
man, he could carry a whole house with that and just knock everybody's faces off. He was an incredible worker, and the behind the scenes, man, life. Y'all wouldn't. The stories that I've heard in his life is nothing compared to his wrestling matches. That he was just a ball of goodness when it comes to the talent, and he just, man, he was just a spitfire, is how we say down here in Alabama. He was an incredible man, and he made a heck of a legacy for himself. And his daughter's carrying the torch. And man, y'all got to watch her. I think she's going to take over one day. I'm saying it now. You're hearing it first here on this talk show. She's going to take over one day. Y'all just watch her.
There you go. Now, Now, as far as like you said, she was down there, Sergeant Slaughter, Luke Gallows, different things. You have anybody coming to an upcoming show that you want to promote for those who are in the Alabama area, and just those who might be going to Alabama, check it out or see it on YouTube?
Yeah, we have Mike Jackson. He's actually head of. He really sisters with the owner of ASWA, All Star Wrestling Alliance here in Alabama. We're in the Dora, Quentin, West Jefferson area, and you never know who we're going to have. Like if someone cancels, Mike Jackson could call Nightmare Factory up, and they could send some of their guys there. I mean, you never know who's going to come through. We've had Adam Priest from AEW Dark. We've had Lamar Diggs from AEW Dark. I'm looking at my husband for help. I can't even remember. We've had Lord Humongous. We have our commissioner is Alan Morton. If y'all remember them days, the guys wrestling in Birmingham and Bob Armstrong, he was there. Kenny Glover at any given time in a match. Trying to think of all the different people that come in. You just never know. You just never know who's going to come through.
And that's the fun of it. I mean, like I said, tonight AEW has their pay-per-view and they promoted the heck out of it and blah, blah, blah with the big TV and the big matches and this one's going and this one's doing. But you guys who could easily put a show on today up against it and have your diehard fans and those in the surrounding towns come there and rock that house like it's Wembley Stadium.
Well, I heard Kent Glover say it best one time. I first met him at Jack Lord's Southeast Wrestling Convention in Rome, Georgia, and I met him. He goes, it's hard for me to drive 2-3 hours to go to something whenever we need something in our own backyard, and that's why he's there at our wrestling show promotion at ASWA. We're here, and there's a lot of us that live in little small towns, and why not come together and make something for the fans happen in our own little area? So, you never know what these small promotions are liable to do. It could be in the middle of nowhere, quote unquote, and it could be one of the best wrestling independent promotions you've ever been to, besides, buying a ticket and going with one of the 3-letter companies and watching it, because the pulse is there of the industry, and it's fun. They're with the fans. They're interacting, and it's incredible. And you never know who you're going to meet. And he made a good point. Let's bring it to our own neighborhoods. If there's a lot of people around, and the guys don't have to drive too far. The ones that are in Alabama, and there's other promotions too that are just as good. In but different parts of the state, and it's fun. And and it's incredible to have all these people come together for the fans.
And that's what it, especially nowadays. Like you can make arguments. We're not going to do that. I don't have the time or patience to keep blaming Vince on how he quote unquote destroyed wrestling. But
right.
As far as like you said, you guys go. You give that great alternative to where your students are just. The ones that are now in high school and those coming home from college for a weekend or whatever, go out on a Saturday night, check you guys out, and have a family friendly deal, because I'm sure there's no cursing and there's no flipping the fans off and there's no trying to act like you're this tough guy and beat up a few fans type of thing,
right,
and such.
Nice, and it's a good clean area to bring your children. Even the wrestlers who are known a little bit more, they feel safe with bringing their wives and their fathers and their mothers and their children there, and they know that they can have a good clean time, and it's the whole family's involved. And you're right, there's no cussing. That it's a lot of self-respect, and there's no hollering, and pooping is how we would say it. But it's, you got to get the crowd riled up a little bit with some of the heels, but, it's really family-oriented. And I'm proud to say that my 4-year-old son, his first time he ever pulled up was in a wrestling ring, legitly. And so, I know 100% if he goes to a wrestling match, it's safe for him to be there. And that means a lot because, you know, you go to some places and you're a little bit nervous when you got to lock your keys, your car up. And it's not like that down here. It's people look out for each other, and you know, at the end of the day, hey, did you have fun? Man, I had an incredible time. I can't wait to go back, and that's what it's about.
And it sounds like you're raising a second generation wrestler.
Oh yeah, y'all watch out for my son. He's coming up, y'all.
There you go. Father and son went in your tag team division before too long.
Absolutely. Hey, and if Mike Golden has anything to do with it, he calls my son calls him Pawpaw.
Mm-hmm.
He has anything to do with it, he's going to make sure that boy is well trained and carry on his legacy.
There you go. And speaking of Mike Golden, you, I think, said you helped him with his autobiography. I think it said on Facebook, or you told me that. I'm not too sure.
Yes, I helped. Mike Golden wrote his biography, and the stories that he told me, it's not appropriate for public listening, but it was incredible. The people that he's met, the backseat driving with Terry Gordy, hanging out. Man, behind the scenes back in the 80s and 90s was incredible. It was something else. He wrote his book, and I helped him, piece it together, and I edited it and published it, and it's out there. And he runs the Solid Gold Training School out of Georgia, and he's an incredible person. And like I said, my son calls him Pawpaw, and he invited us into his home. He didn't just train my husband; he made us a part of his family, and for that, the mentoring that he has given me, I'm going to remember it for the rest of my life. He is an incredibly interesting person, and I love that man and his family to death. They are awesome people. And, man, the one particular thing that he told me was, riding in the back seat with Terry and all them and hanging out and listening. He said, I don't know if I can cuss on here or not, but one thing he always said.
No, just to clean that up and leave that part out.
He says, shut the up and listen. And he said that if you'll listen, just sit back and listen to all these people that have been in the industry. He goes, man, you'll learn so much, especially in the car rides where you get the real raw nitty gritty talent and explaining it. And then they show they do the passes and stuff. He's told me some stories from over the years about Ric Flair, about Stone Cold, Shawn Michaels. Then I've heard it all. Abdullah the Butcher, then all kinds of stuff. But he's an incredible person. If y'all ever get to meet him or see him at a show, shake that man's hand because he's somebody.
Because Denny Brown, the former NWA light heavyweight champion in the 80s, we had him on the show a couple of weeks ago, and he said the same thing. He was in Florida at the time with Mike Rotunda and Mike Davis, and they both said the same thing. You're going to sit in the back of this car, and you're not going to worry about what's on the radio. You're going to listen to everything we tell you, and there you go. And that's the thing, and that's where Ricky Morton and all these other guys, Jimmy Valiant and such, they've had that knowledge for all these years on how to be in the locker room, how to respect the veterans, how to listen to the veterans during the match, and so forth and so on. And like I said, a lot of these young guys just seem to, come out in most matches and just want to put each other through a ladder and everything, and they don't understand there's storytelling to it. There's a way to do it that captivate the audience,
Absolutely. It's the psychology of it. That's why Mike Golden always says, if you sit back and listen, man, the things that you'll learn from them on how to present yourself and how to work the crowd. It's not just the wrestling moves. It's so much more. The psychology of it is astounded me on how deep the level of it is. And if the young generation would listen to these older gentlemen who have made a life of it and a legacy of it, they would learn so much. And there is a big difference. The ones that, oh man, I don't need to hear that, they don't get that wisdom, but they learn it later the hard way. But if these younger guys that soak it in and listen to these guys in the back of car rides, and when they tell their stories, if they listen and they hear these things and apply it like a tool or a method in their life, man, it makes a big difference. So yes, you have to listen to these old timers, and I call them that because a lot of them are in their 70s and 80s now, and they want someone to carry on their legacy and what they've learned, because it is a lifetime learning event. It's always changing.
Yeah. Because if you think about it, like Jimmy Valiant once told a story when I was down there, he's like, you really got to learn these moves, because if you go in there and you're on WWE TV at the time, 94, no, it was WCW at the time when Hulk Hogan was in there. It's like if you go in there and matching Hulk Hogan and you miss a move or miss what you know you have to do, you can easily break his ankle. Yeah. You really have to, listen to the veterans of the business and just really understand that you're not trying to quote unquote kill the guy, even though some great promos have said that. But you're really out there looking out for each other, because it is a working environment for you guys.
Yeah, you got to go back to your family at the end of the day, and you still, a lot of people still got to go to work, on Monday morning. They don't want to go there with their, arm completely busted up or something like that. It's, you have to have respect for each other, and if you don't have respect, then why are you out there,
That is true. Now, switching from the woman who works the promotion to the wife aspect, when the husband is out there professionally wrestling, are you like, just take your time, do this, do that, don't go crazy, you don't need to go off that top rope right now, are you like in your mind just making sure that he's not gonna wind up, God forbid, with a broken ankle at the end of the match?
Man, I'm as nervous as a cat in a room full of rocking chairs when he's in a match, because my husband, his name is Brian Thorne Evans, that's his stage name. When he gets in a match, he is extreme, and if someone hits him too hard, he's going to go black. Like his anger will go from 0 to 150 million, and it makes me so nervous. So the first time he was put through a table at where were we? We were in LaGrange at Down Home Championship Wrestling with Tommy and Lisa. Man, I was so scared. I was freaking out. Like, being the wife of a wrestler is a tough job. It makes you so nervous, because you're like, oh my God, and you're in the back and you want to say so many things at once. And it nerve-wracking to see him go through these things. But at the end of the day, our kids get to see their daddy, be a quote unquote superstar or whatever in their minds, and they enjoy it. But even my son, he's little bitty, and whenever he sees daddy go, get somebody or gets picked up and gets bombed or schoolboyed or whatever, or off the top rope, he's hollering for his daddy. He doesn't understand it. So it's hard being the wife of a wrestler, and but I just want him to follow his dreams and run after it, and don't let anything stop him. And it's been fun traveling and going to these shows with him, whether I'm working it or not, and just seeing him have a good time and having our kids with us. It's been a good journey. But I'm telling y'all, my nerves after these matches, it's been crazy.
There you go. But at least he knows that you're in the building, and he's not going to do the crazy, because being a veteran as he is, he knows what to do. It's like Jake the Snake told DDP, as he wrote in his book, you don't need to do 1,000 things. I could teach you more sitting on this couch than you're going to learn at the power plant or anything else. And,
yes.
And that's the truth. It's like, your husband, I'm sure, could take a young guy right out of Ricky Morton wrestling school, even though Ricky Morton trained him phenomenal, and give him that extra little, this is what you got to do to have a 20-year career in this business, whether you're wrestling down here or you're wrestling at one of the big federations.
Right.
And what does that mean to you guys? Like, if somebody, you don't have to say who, there's probably like 4 billion of them, the ones that make it to the as they say, the show, are you guys like proud parents? Like, you molded them, you made sure they ate right, did this and did that type of thing, and then you go, wow, he's doing pretty good on the bigger shows, if you will.
I'll mention someone, and I'm sure he won't mind. Any press is good press. Guys that came out of Ricky Morton's training school, I'm going to name them. It's the Exotic Youth: Zach Mosley, Cornelius Pepperbottom, and Bryce Cannon. I've watched them grow, just coming fresh out of the training school, and to do promos at KLT, and helping them learn how to do, what to say and what information is very important to present that you can't leave out, and how to work the camera. Watching them grow, those three boys, young men, whatever, their boys days to now being on AWR. I am so proud to watch guys that I've seen grow in the industry make it. I feel like a proud mom, and the teacher in me is like, there's one of my babies, and, watching them to work the crowd and become incredible. And that's why I do what I do, to watch these young men and women run after their dreams and don't let anything stop them. And those guys are taking over the independent wrestling scene, and I am so proud of every single thing that they post and do. And watch them on TV. It's like a proud parent moment. And there's been times where I would say, make sure you eat, make sure you get home safe, and because people, this is not just a job. This is like a family, and you really care about these young men and women. And to watch them do incredible things, man, it's so exciting, and I'm so proud of each and every one of them. And there's so many people I'm leaving out, but that was just one example, and it's worth it. And I know that whenever I pass away and see the good Lord, and I, have to explain all what I did in my life, I know that I've helped make a difference, and that's why I do what I do. And I can't wait to see what the future holds in the industry for each and every person that's ever worked with me, and who I've influenced. I cannot wait to see what result or product comes from it, and I'm so proud of each and every one of them.
And there you go. And that's the thing, like years and years ago, we talked about it on the phone on Friday, like your Wendell Cooley's of the world, who fans might remember him a little bit on NWA wrestling or WCW at the time, wrestling Ric Flair or something for TV. But Wendell Cooley was a big deal in that neck of the woods for many, many years. Exotic Adrian Street and so many others. The Armstrongs, as you mentioned, they all came from there. And you guys are bringing it back at a level where the fans are saying, okay, this is my guy. So sort of like minor league baseball. When you go and you live in a town that has a team that's associated with the Mets or Yankees or Red Sox or whatever, you're like, these are my guys. And when they get to the major leagues, which is one of the big three, whatever, you're like, they, like you said moments ago, they made it. And you're that mom who may have baked them a cake for their birthday or something, and you're like, here they are on Raw or SmackDown or AEW programming or whatever. It must be an awesome feeling.
It really is. I'm getting chills thinking about it. I remember when Bryce Cannon shared that he was going to be on AEW Dark. I had tears in my eyes because I was so proud of him to watch him come from, real green, fresh out of the Rock and Roll Express training school to there. Oh man, it's incredible to watch these young men grow. It's just, that's why I'm a teacher, to see that light bulb come on and see how they can influence the world and the industry. It's so wonderful, and I can't. It's just beautiful. It really is, and I know some people who are not into wrestling don't understand, but it's a teacher moment. It's a proud parent moment, if you can relate. It's a beautiful, beautiful thing to watch them grow.
That's true, because I had the pleasure years ago right here on Long Island, and it was called the Five Towns, and they were running USWF, which is no longer in existence, was running a wrestling camp. Balls Mahoney and Chris Candido were the teachers for the camp. And, that's when I really, at that age, I was like starting to be in my 30s, and I'm like, I'm going to work, and I love the business, but I'm so hurt that I'm not going to, that part's not for me, but the fan will always be there. And I sat with Chris Candido, not the Chris Candido who was on WWE or Smoky Mountain, but the Chris Candido who was just in there showing me, this is what you do. And the both of them, I mean, Bowles Mahoney wanted to slam me like 3 times if I didn't do a proper drop kick, whatever, or a proper fall. But nonetheless, they went from where, your husband could probably relate to this, 4,000 push-ups and learning the business, to people who had all that knowledge and teaching it in a class where you're going to learn the business, whether you're going to be in it as a wrestler or a fan will appreciate it more.
Absolutely.
Because there's one guy who actually, I remember in that class, came in, quote unquote, his gimmick. And Bowles Mahoney said, if you ever, because both of them, as you know, I think they both were, I know Bowles was, but I don't know if Chris was, both might have been amateur wrestlers. And he's like, I will go and I will shoot on you and you'll never wear that mask again in here.
Yes.
Because it's like, it's almost, I would think, I mean, you guys can attest to one, I can. It's almost like an insult if you're already practicing your promos and your gimmicks and you don't even know how to take a fall or a drop kick.
Yeah, and I've seen that. It's very surface, as I would say. You have to know all the other deep foundational stuff before you can get out there and run your mouth. And where some people they're great at the technique and tools of it, but they can't do a promo. And that's what these trainers are there for, is to make you all encompassing, to have all the tools and methods in your toolbox to be able to apply it to the industry. And you have to have each certain facet and variable of it. And if one's lacking, man, the fans will pinpoint it out on you. They'll let you know. And sometimes it's the 7-year-old kid who's like, man, you're XYZ. This is what you're not good at. And they'll point it out and let you know. So you have to be fully prepared whenever you step into that ring and into the light. You have to. And it takes so many things. And all the people that do the different training schools, they have their own different personalities and spice of it. But that's why it's kind of good to go to different promotions and listen and talk with different people who have been trained in different parts of the country, because you're going to get a little flavor from each place, a little spice. And it's you've got to soak it all in and be open-minded to hearing and be willing to apply it in anything. And I promise you, some of the green guys will get stuck. And they've got to remember these things. And if they're not well trained, they're not going to have a clue what to do. And if you have a solid foundation in your training, you'll know what to go to automatically. There's certain things that you can do that will keep the match going. Or if you're in the middle of an interview, there's certain things you have to mention. And if you get stuck, you can go to those things. And if you're not well prepared, I mean, you're out of luck. And that's why you just can't step into it on a Friday night. Hey, you're so-and-so's cousin, or son. Like I've had the pleasure of meeting the Rock and Roll Express and his son, who's Kerry at KLT for Superstars Fan Fest last year. He was sitting outside talking to his son like a father and son would, and he was giving him wisdom, and they were going over what was going on during his match. There's so much more than what the fans know, but that's what makes the quality good.
Yeah, and it's true, because Dusty Rhodes, you could see his influence in NXT. Times. I mean, you could look at Seth Rollins. I use that as a perfect example because, I mean, of course, Cody was born in it, so he knows how to shoot a promo when he was like in diapers. But Seth Rollins has really gotten to where he's become. And when they broke up the Shield, I actually thought Roman Reigns was going to be the one to really, which he did, but at that time really blossom. But they were pushing Seth at the time. But now you can see him like controlling the fans, and they go over his music, and he's cutting those great promos. Even Becky Lynch, when everybody who was down in NXT at the time, when Dusty was there, you could see it, because Dusty and even Steven Regal at the time, Lord Steven Regal, they were, sticklers for, Regal more so the wrestling part of it, but Dusty with the promos. Because when we had Denny Brown on, Dusty went up to him and said, "You're going to be the light heavyweight champion." He's like, "When? Tomorrow?" He said, "In about a year from now." Because that's how Dusty's mind thought for the business. What could promote Florida? What could promote the NWA? What could do this? What could do all these kind of things? And Ricky Morton the same way. Like, there's that story that Arn tells when the Horsemen Ole Anderson, Arn Anderson, Ric Flair turned on Dusty Rhodes in the Omni. Arn's like, oh, we thought we were just going to waltz out of the cage. No, because Ricky Morton gave that great facial stuff he used to do and still does, to where he made it seem like Dusty was shot with a gun. So you weren't going anywhere unless the Atlanta Police Department was getting you out of there. So it's just like, these guys know how to really keep the fans into the scenarios. What I was getting at, and I'm sure you guys do that same thing locally.
Yes, there's been times where my husband, it looked like he had brass knuckles and he hit the number one babyface. I believe it was in LaGrange, Georgia. Who was that? Danny Rhodes. He was in a match with Danny Rhodes, and the fans thought he had brass knuckles, and they thought my husband had hit Danny Rhodes, and man, they went crazy. And and they were really mad. Like, we had to get some people to walk us out to our car, even with our kids. Like, these fans went nuts, and they knew we definitely had to work the crowd, and it was incredible just on a small scale. But they'll get vicious if you hurt their baby face now.
That is true. I mean, Dusty Rhodes made it seem a lot of times like, he was just in, like, where he was walking around with a cast one time, and Dusty Rhodes, when I think after Tully Blanchard with a bat right around the first Starcade, not Starcade, Clash of Champions, and then Al Perez cut a promo with Gary Hart right before that, where he said, Dusty Rhodes, I don't need no baseball bat to take care of you, and stuff like that. So these guys knew how to put this whole wonderful business together to really captivate the fans. And like we've been saying, on that scale that you guys doing on, it's not even the smallest scale, because people don't realize, like you had mentioned, that the independent promotions, if you will, are becoming more than just 15 people show up because there's something to do on a Saturday night.
Right. It's becoming bigger and bigger and bigger, and I hope that they bring the territories back. Personally, I would love to be incorporated in that. It's more than just a one night thing. It continues on, and if promotion's good, they'll carry it on their social media, and it's the stories that get developed from one week to another. It's almost like a soap opera. It's like you have to tune in to know what happens. And I've had fans message me, "Oh, what happens? What are they doing?" And I can't say nothing. You just got to come. You just got to watch it on YouTube. It really gets your attention, and that's what a good wrestler does. They'll grab the fans' attention. They'll hold on to it and ride it out to the sunset. And that's what makes a good storyline. They can, two wrestlers like Gorilla and Zach Mosley had a beef through the South a couple of years ago, and I was able to do their video, and they got nominated for the best rivalry in Georgia through Georgia Wrestling History's awards, and man, their story went across several promotions, and it was such a strong story, and it took those two guys, coming together, and really getting the crowd's attention, and it showed. It really did.
And that's true, because one of the matches tonight in Wembley is CM Punk and what's his name? What can I think right now? Samoa Joe. And they did a thing last night where they were going from when they started in Ring of Honor and different things and built it up. I don't like when they were both, I was telling my wife about this. I said, when they were both in WWE, I don't remember them ever wrestling, but they wouldn't be showing that footage anyway. But they did do a nice build up to it also. So that has a lot to do with the matches. Also a nice build up to it. Are you guys also on like local television for those in the Alabama area? Or those?
No, we've had talks about coming together with some other promotions and getting some things going, but nothing at the moment. Only around 21, and the owner has run other promotions under different names, but Mike Jackson goes to several promotions in the state and through the whole United States, and so it's almost it goes with him almost. You never know when you're going to catch him on TV, but there's anyway, that goes places. That's time. No, not yet, but we're getting there.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, so we have a few more minutes. So if you want to give like your Facebook and stuff to where the fans can get a hold of you, and then we'll do a few more questions and wrap things up.
Okay, you can reach me on Facebook. My design page is at Chris10, like the number 10, KRIS Designs, Chris 10's Designs on Facebook. You can catch All Star Wrestling on Facebook at All Star Wrestling Alliance. If you want to check out my former promotion, KLT Promotions, they're on Facebook. If you ever need work done, because I've worked with several legends and I'm in talks with different people about working with them on their autobiographies, you can email me at miss_Nixon@yahoo.com. My students will see me on Monday morning bright and early to learn some wonderful things about art foundations. They know how to reach through there. I was trying to think. It's hard when you're put on the spotlight and you're like, what information do I need to share? Mm-hmm. But yeah, please don't contact me on my personal page. That's, I am on there, but that's more for people who are in my little, family and people that I keep up with in the wrestling industry who are workers. So I try to keep that separate. So if you're a fan, go to Chris 10's Designs on Facebook, and you can contact me there if you need any work done or you just want to check out some of the things. Don't forget to check out YouTube. All the pages from KLT Promotions, All Star Wrestling, are on there, and the show today on your page on YouTube. Trying to think, I've got a few independent things from different states that I've texted my husband doing. You'll find that on my Facebook page on Chris 10's Designs from over the years, and some things from FanFest. A little Rock and Roll Express is going to be on there, and a little bit of Mike Golden's going to be on there. To promote him, he's the Solid Gold Training School. He's got a website and a Facebook page. That's about it.
There you go. Now, as far as like when you guys do a show, and it doesn't, as we say, draw as you thought it would, what is? I'm hoping that the attitude, I know from your husband it would be, but for the rest of the guys, it's like, I don't care if there's 5 people or 500,000 people in this building, we're gonna rock this house.
Absolutely, that's the way you got to look at it, and it's happened before, both times, both ways. You have to bring all of it. You have to leave it all out in that ring. You have to give it your 100%. And some of the matches that have only had a handful of people, a couple of dozen, some of those were the best matches. And there's been a couple of dark matches where it was not taped at all. And it was probably about 10 trainees there just watching the people who are a little bit more experienced do stuff. The energy is almost the same. Like, you're going to get the same amount of energy if you bring your product and you work it well and you present yourself well. It doesn't even matter, as long as you're doing what you want to do. I mean, for your heart, what's put on you to do and shine. That's how I tell my students, you're going to have a good time. And people talk, and you may not get the results you want to get, media-wise, but who cares? At the end of the day, if you're doing what you love, then you've given it your all, you can sleep good that night. Right. So, it's working a small crowd is not a bad thing.
There you go. And the veterans like your husband and stuff, it's like second nature. I mean, I'm sure he's wrestled in car dealership parking lots and county fairs, as they say, and all, Next time we'll have.
Yeah, he's busted a couple of light bulbs over his back and across his face, and I didn't go to those extreme matches down in Mississippi. Boy, those men get crazy down there. But yeah, he's done that in dark matches, and nobody will ever know. It'll never see the light of day. But those matches were.
Hello.
You there?
Yeah. We did some little in the So those matches, and then you cut off for a second. Those you were saying?
Those matches are incredible. Those ones that not too many people know about. There's extreme matches down there in Mississippi that gets a little crazy. So Yeah, he's had experience with wrestling in different places and different states, and the experience he's gained from that is I hope it lasts and propels him into the future.
There you go. All right, we're wrapping it up. We got mere seconds, Christina. I thank you for being on the show, and you're welcome back anytime when we do Wrestling Month again. And like I said, I appreciate the time and the insight and the honest view of the independents that gives people who are tied down to thinking there were only 3 major organizations in this country. Hopefully it opens eyes that they get off this show, and after they rewatch this interview, you watch your stuff. So you have a good day, and thank you so much for being on.
All right, thank you for having me.
Okay, enjoy. And Long Island, join us for what's going to be a quick extension of Wrestling Month as we have Sergeant Slaughter's daughter on next week. We'll see you then, and enjoy. Bye for now.
I'm happy you all were listening to the sit down. I will talk to you next week, and be good to each other and have a good week, Long Island. Be safe.
The views expressed in the previous program did not necessarily represent those of the staff, management, or owners of WGBB. The views expressed in the following program do not necessarily represent those of the staff, management, or owners of WGBB.
This is WGBB AM 1240 and W240 DFFM 95.9 Freeport, New York.
It's your American Patriot, DJ Drew Shelton. With insight and analysis of today's rapidly shifting world, we welcome you to the U.S. Patriot Show. With Talk Radio's premier Jewish activist, Cindy Gross, featuring exclusive interviews with today's top newsmakers and trendsetters. Remember, you don't have to be Jewish to be with Cindy. And now, coming from our WGBB studios in the tri-state area, your Jewish